The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Good morning. It is 9:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. And listen, we are just a few days away from the inauguration of Donald J. Trump. Are you hype? Are you hype? We are witnessing the greatest political comeback in the history of the country, and it is going to be coming to a close on Monday. When he is inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States. Are you big hype? I'm big hype. Mason, you big hype? Everybody's big hype. Jay Harper, I see him back there, big hype.
I'm big hype. I'm so ready.
And we're working on being able to have picture-in-picture Monday on the stream of the inauguration.
Yeah,
right,
so
cool.
Yeah, so big goal is we're going to have trading if you want to. Big shot of Chris with a little shot of the inauguration going on in the corner while he talks over it, doing it kind of like a mystery science theater kind of thing, and then hopefully reversing it and having little Chris in the corner.
Oh.
And then big shot of the stream, just to kind of.
We're excited. And then Brian Wilson's going to be down there.
Let's go.
And so I told Brian, I said, hey, man, like whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
As much or as little as you want to be involved, I'm game. So I'm excited to have Brian a part of the show and along for the ride. Brian has seen a few of these.
Just a couple.
So I'll have all the dumb questions and Brian will have all the smart answers.
It's what we need.
It's balance.
It's what we need.
It's balance. So I'm very excited that Brian will be in the weeds on that with us. It's going to be just an absolute bananas weekend over in D.C. The parties are lining up, and the celebrations, they seem a bit epic. If you will. You got so many people performing all weekend long to celebrate Donald Trump. Celebrations through Monday. You'll hear Carrie Underwood's going to be at the inauguration, but Jason Aldean, Rascal Flatts, Kid Rock, the Village People, all of these guys are out there in D.C. to celebrate 45-47, and that is going to be absolutely unreal. I have a lot of friends going to the Turning Point Ball, and that party is going to be absolutely nuts. They got J.D. Vance, Tom Homan, Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel. There's part of me that misses what's going on up there, and then the other part of me is not going to miss it at all. It's going to be very, very cold, and I am going to be very excited to be taking it all in from the warmth of the studio. And not dealing with the crowds. It's going to be insane, absolutely insane. You know what? I'm not the only one that's skipping the inauguration, though. Nancy Pelosi is going to be skipping the inauguration. I know. I was surprised too. I mean, it's going to be noon in D.C., so she may be a bit too inebriated to attend this one. But Nancy Pelosi's sitting it out. And it's kind of crazy because she was at Trump's first inauguration in 2017, and she's attended a total of 11 presidential inaugurations. You want to know how bad it is in D.C., how we need to scurry the elderly on their way? Nancy Pelosi's first inauguration, guess which president was her first inauguration? Just guess.
John Adams.
I would say either Kennedy or Lyndon Johnson.
It was Kennedy.
Wow.
JFK. Nancy Pelosi's first inauguration she attended was JFK.
First inauguration on like tenure, or
It was just her, the first time she ever went to an inauguration. But, you know, Pelosi's got a broken hip now.
Man.
She can't make it.
Oh, no.
She's got the little walker with the tennis balls.
Oh, get her a flask. She'll be okay.
She'll be all right. She'll watch it from one of the speakeasies inside the Capitol. So Michelle Obama is also skipping the inauguration. I'm starting to believe the rumors that her and B.O. are on the outs.
I mean, with how buddy was with Trump the other night.
Yeah, maybe Larry Sinclair is back in the fold. Nobody knows.
Who knows?
Nobody knows. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, was a bit shocked that Michelle Obama was skipping the inauguration, and he called her out for it on Fox News yesterday.
Well, let me preface my remarks by saying I've been to the, her White House twice, actually with Shark Tank. We shot updates there. She's a really nice woman, and Obama, nice guy. However, this is different. This is about signaling the office of the President of the United States, regardless of who's in it. This tradition has gone on for over 100 years. This is what presidents do and their wives on Inauguration Day. This is the holiest day of politics. It is the transition of power. You have to respect it. I don't like what she's doing here. I'm against it. I think it's wrong.
He thinks it's wrong. Now, listen, I understand Trump skipped the Biden inauguration in 2020, although the question marks around 2020 were never answered, so I understand why he skipped that. I don't really care that Michelle Obama's skipping it. Do you care that Michelle Obama's skipping it?
I don't care at all.
Is anybody going to miss her?
Yeah, probably not. The occasional stands that are out there, but
Nancy Pelosi skipping the inauguration, does that matter to you at all?
Nah, more alcohol for us.
There isn't an open bar.
No, that's fair, yeah.
I mean, listen, Trump is coming. Daddy is home. There's going to be a new song released today. Tom McDonald and Roseanne Barr.
I didn't know about that.
It's called Daddy's Home.
Nice.
As soon as that gets released, we're going to play it. I'm going to keep my eyes on the YouTube.
Please.
And when they release that, I'm going to play it. But everybody's lining up to get on the Trump train. He is going to be the president. He's bringing unity back, and he's going to drag people kicking and screaming into prosperity. Even Paul Ryan, former Speaker of the House, he's on the Trump train now, and he was on CNBC, and he actually got crushed by Joe Kernan on CNBC for waiting until after the election to call for unity with Trump. And I love that Paul Ryan got called out for this.
So now you're calling for unity.
I am calling for unity.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Would have been nice before the election.
He won. Look, he won.
And the other thing I thought was funny that you said was when you said, hey, look, I want Trump to succeed. You know who that sounds like? It sounds like a Democrat.
Yep. Call him out. Call him out. Paul Ryan is one of the worst.
Sounds like a Democrat saying,
Well,
you
I
know
hope
what?
the Democrats sound like that.
Well, of course you want Trump to succeed. You're a Republican.
Hey, look, I'm a conservative Republican. I'm a free market, limited
No,
government.
but you know what I'm saying?
constitutional
That's who I hear
Yeah, but my
saying
brand of
things.
conservatism doesn't always overlap with Trump populism.
I understand, but it was binary.
But
we argued about that.
I know we
It was
argued. On and off the
binary
camera.
all along. It was always binary. And a vote not for Trump was a vote for Kamala Harris. Can you
Here's the point.
imagine?
I know
Can
you want to get back to
imagine?
this.
Honestly, listen, Paul Ryan, you didn't vote for Trump. Well, then you essentially gave a vote to Kamala Harris. And Joe Kernan on CNBC is like, could you imagine the devastation of what this country would be facing if Kamala Harris was going to be president right now? We dodged so many bullets. And now Kamala's got a new book deal. She's going to get paid $20 million for her book deal. Maybe she can take that $20 million and pay back the DNC. You know, she raised, what was it, $2 billion and ended up $20 million in debt in her 3-month campaign. Do you think any of that money is going to be sent back to repay those debts? Probably not. Could you imagine that woman managing our economy? I mean, this is what Paul Ryan essentially was doing. Honestly, if you're not supporting Trump, you're supporting Kamala Harris.
Here's the point. A lot of this agenda, my kind of conservatism, Trump populism, it overlaps.
Okay.
We disagree on trade and things like that. I'm not with trade fights on China, but
Right.
I'm not a big fan of all the tariffs on our allies.
you're
But
an
the point is, all this other stuff, the tax policy, the border policy, the deregulatory policy, very good for America, very
don't
good for the economy.
sacrifice the good for the
It only
perfect.
gets done
Don't
if
sacrifice
Republicans
the
stay
good for the
unified.
perfect.
And I think it's important that Republicans stay unified.
Okay.
I love that CNBC's Joe Kernan called out Paul Ryan to his face. He looked like a deer in the headlights. Hold these people accountable. Bring the receipts. Oh, you're calling for unity now? Oh. Where was this when Donald Trump was being shot at? Weird. Paul Ryan, I'm a Republican and I'm a conservative. Okay. Got it. These guys deserve no place anywhere near the Trump administration. I don't even think that they should have a voice in the room. Go on. You know, the Trump effect is real, though. We're seeing it in real time. The FBI has now decided to close their DEI offices. Did you see that? Oh, weird. You mean right before Donald Trump gets in, you're closing the DEI offices? Ahead of Trump's inauguration, the FBI has shuttered its DEI office, reports the Post-Millennial. The agency confirmed to Fox News on Thursday in recent weeks the FBI took steps to close the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, effective by December 2024. This comes as Trump has nominated Kash Patel for FBI director, and current FBI head Christopher Wray in December announced that he would resign before Trump took office. In May, House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan sent a letter to Wray demanding information about the FBI's use of DEI initiatives. Jordan wrote, "The law enforcement and intelligence capabilities of the FBI are degrading because the FBI is no longer hiring the best and brightest candidates to fill the position of special agent of the FBI. An increasing number of lower quality candidates, described by one source as breadcrumbs because they were rejected by other federal law enforcement agencies, are applying to become FBI special agents. And the FBI is selecting those candidates to become FBI special agents because, well, they check the boxes. They satisfy the FBI's priority to meet diversity, equity, and inclusion mandates." Our own Senator Marsha Blackburn wrote a letter to Wray in early January saying that the FBI's radical DEI practices had endangered Americans. And you can make that argument after you see what happened in New Orleans on New Year's Day. Marsha Blackburn said, "I'm deeply concerned that under your leadership, the Bureau has prioritized DEI initiatives over its core mission of protecting the American people." The FBI's page on diversity and inclusion on its website stated the FBI is committed to cultivating a diverse and inclusive workforce. In 2015, the FBI added diversity as one of its core values at the organization. This stuff is changing rapidly. Donald Trump caught wind of the FBI closing those offices, and you know what he said? Preserve your records. Preserve your records. In a post on Truth Social, he said, "We demand the FBI preserve and retain all records, documents, and information on the now closing DEI office. Never should have been opened, and if it was, should have closed long ago. Why is it that they're closing it one day before the inauguration of the new administration? The reason? Corruption. Hold on to those records. Keep the receipts. The new administration's incoming, and they would like to take a look." You know, the federal government spends roughly $125 billion on DEI programs. I'll say it again. The federal government spends roughly $125 billion on DEI programs. Maybe if you know somebody in Western North Carolina, you should send them a text. Say, hey, We couldn't get your house rebuilt, and we're kicking you out of hotels as quickly as we can, but we have $125 billion for DEI programs. It's got to stop. And under Donald Trump, it is going to stop. And a lot of people are trying to get away from this now, and Trump says preserve your records. The West Virginia's new governor is ending all DEI programs on day one. That needs to happen. You know, you're seeing the companies closing their DEI offices. Shout out to Robbie Starbuck for all the work that he's done there. You're seeing the Trump effect in real time, and I couldn't be happier. I feel like we are wasting so much money, and the American people are suffering because of it. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Meanwhile, the Israel deal does look like it's happening. Netanyahu has thanked Trump for the hostage and ceasefire deal. I'll say that again. Benjamin Netanyahu thanked Trump. Oh, he thanked, who did he thank? Oh, he thanked Trump. Remember when they asked Biden if he would give Donald Trump any credit for the ceasefire deal?
Credit for this, Mr. President, you or Trump?
Is that a joke?
No, it's not. Netanyahu has now thanked Trump. Is that a joke? No, it's not.
A joke?
It's not. It's not a joke. Netanyahu thanks Trump. The Trump effect is real. You know what? Even the far left, like these radical, progressive far lefters who are, pro-Palestinian, are giving Trump the credit too. It's just wild, right? Horseshoe effect. The progressive left credits Trump and rips Biden after the ceasefire deal. Prominent members of the progressive left. They say progressive, I say radical, but they're crediting Donald Trump for the ceasefire agreement reached between Israel and Hamas days before he reassumes the presidency. Many pro-Palestinian or anti-Israel progressives who have been highly critical of the Biden-Harris administration failures to reach a ceasefire weighed in to further bash the outgoing administration or laud Trump for already bringing peace on the foreign policy front. It's peace through strength, and it works. We're going to have a good 4 years, and it all starts on Monday. We'll be covering the whole thing live here on the Chris Hand Show. Very, very excited about that, and very excited that our own Brian Wilson will be in the fold to cover that with us. It's going to be a good day on Monday. It's going to be a celebration. I mean, people are going to be celebrating all weekend long. Are you kidding? Let's go. It is going to be awesome. And we'll have it for you right here live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand from my friends at United Structural Systems, and we had that snow, and it's melted. Well, where'd the water go? If you got cracks in your foundation, that could be going into your crawl space or your basement. Yikes. Not a good look. Not a good look. And if you don't see it getting in there, well, it could get even worse. You're talking wood rot. You're talking mold, all that nastiness. You don't want that. You want the experts to come take a look. If you see cracks in your foundation, if you have waterproofing issues, talk to the guys that have been doing it in Middle Tennessee since 1994. Talk to the guys with over 30,000 satisfied customers. Your waterproofing experts, United Structural Systems. So after the snow is melted, maybe you're not sure if it's in your crawl space or your basement. Take a walk around your house. And if you're seeing wet basement walls, cracks in your basement floor, that's your house trying to tell you something. USS will come out, take a look, and create a custom solution for you, and they won't leave until the job is done and you're satisfied. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. Online at USSTN.com.
Well, some breaking news. The U.S. Supreme Court has made its decision on the TikTok ban. And we'll also have new decorum rules for the Tennessee House of Representatives. That's all coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay Harper. It's 9:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Joe Biden worried about his legacy. How will he be remembered? Well, Rep. James Clyburn says he's going to go down as one of the greatest presidents we've ever had.
Given everything that was in place when he took office, COVID, the economic challenges, do you think that this was in some way
and the computer
inevitable? And how do you think history will judge this presidency?
I think that he will go down as one of the greatest presidents we ever had.
Okay, let me hold on one second. This is James Clyburn's opinion. Into the trash it goes. Okay. Thanks, James. Appreciate it. He had more to say.
I think the same thing about Jimmy Carter, who we just funeralized.
What? We just...
Wow.
Is funeralized a word?
Funeralized?
We just funeralized the guy.
That feels wrong.
Doesn't that feel? That
feels wrong.
It's funny. We were talking on the cross about words that aren't words that people use, like irregardless. Yeah. We just funeralized Jimmy Carter. We just funeralized.
That's
him.
not a word.
He will go down as one of the greatest presidents we ever had. I think the same thing about Jimmy Carter, who we just funeralized. Jimmy Carter left the presidency with very, very low ratings. Harry Truman, the same thing. People who do big things, people who break with the status quo, these people do not get judged well in the currency. But when history gets a chance to look back, to read the things he said and did, rather than to respond to the way he said them. I heard people this morning or last night talking about him not being a great communicator. Well, some people are good speakers. Other people are great doers. And some people just know how to write. And that is what it's all about.
So which one is Joe? I don't think he qualifies for any of those.
Yeah, I was waiting for a quality that would describe.
Some people are doers, some people are speakers, and some people write. Which category are you saying that Joe falls into?
I think you forgot mumblers. I feel like you forgot wanderers.
I'll tell you what. When he said some people are great speakers, I was waiting for him to go, some people got stutters. You know what I mean? Remember that? Remember that whole narrative? Oh, Joe doesn't have dementia. He's overcoming a stutter. Remember that? You remember that, right? I can't be the only one that remembers that. He overcame a stutter.
I can't believe that was the excuse that was given.
Well, we just funeralized Jimmy Carter.
Oh, that makes sense. Give him a break. A little bit of a break.
I mean, Joe Biden. You know, it's funny. He was given an MSNBC interview last night. Joe Biden was, and the stutter came up. A lot of things came up. Joe is desperately trying to defend his legacy. I'll bring you what he incoherently rambled about during that MSNBC interview when we return right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 9:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll have your full weather forecast here in a couple of minutes. Well, the U.S. Supreme Court has upheld a law to force TikTok's sale from a Chinese state-owned firm, even as President Biden and President-elect Donald Trump have sought to delay the divestment. The court's justices, in a unanimous ruling, ordered the qualified divestment of the California-based social media platform from China's ByteDance. So this story far from over, however. Back here in Tennessee, Democrats are speaking out about new rules that allows the House Speaker to remove disruptive members from the floor to another room where they can still vote, but they can't be heard. Nashville Democrat State Representative John Clemens tells Channel 4.
You're expelling a member and sending them to a satellite location to vote. I mean, this isn't kindergarten. This is the General Assembly. So it just seems ridiculous.
This all in response to a 2023 event when the so-called Tennessee Three, that being Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, and Gloria Johnson, faced expulsion for leading a protest on the House floor after the Covenant School shooting. Another rule bans disruptive guests in the gallery for the next 2 sessions. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
I got involved, I didn't think about it this way, but I got involved in public life because of the abuse of power. I mean, my dad would say, you know, the greatest sin of all is the abuse of power. And I was raised in a circumstance where, like I used to always talk about how the worst thing ever happened to me was I used to stutter when I was a kid. And you really get made fun of when you talk like that. And, but I realized maybe it was the greatest gift I ever got.
That's Joe Biden giving his final Oval Office sit-down with one Lawrence O'Donnell. The same Lawrence O'Donnell who said veterans have killed more people via terrorism than terrorists. Yeah, that guy. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. I just can't believe the stutter conversation's back. It is. You remember that right after the debate when people were saying, he had a cold and he grew up with a stutter.
And a slight cold as well. So I understand not feeling well. And, you know, obviously Joe Biden comes in with certain deficits. He has a stutter.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Sickness can bring back childhood trauma. Like,
listen. Listen, if it wasn't for his stutter that he had growing up, we'd be looking at this whole presidency completely different.
I also think it's funny. This man has taken more interviews than he did during his entire election process of trying to get back into the White House for a second term.
Honestly.
Wild.
It is a clown show up in D.C.
Oh, for sure.
And Joe Biden is just trying to fix his legacy, but it's so weird. He's like, it's the abuse of power. We're worried about the abuse of power. And I don't know if you noticed, but he said, when I got into public life, it's like he meant politics, but that must be the stutter popping up again.
Yeah, probably.
If you have a stuttering issue, does it just swap out words for other words? Or is that dementia?
I think that's just a Bidenism at this point.
But he keeps going on. The abuse of power. Okay. During his swan song speech, the end of quote, if you will, that's what the post-millennial called it, which I loved. He talked about the misinformation that's burying people like an avalanche, and now in this interview he's talking about the abuse of power. And I just wonder, with these guys, do they know that the internet is forever? And when you talk about misinformation and abuse of power, it's like, hey, that's you. That's you. You did that. Do they understand that? Do you think they remember? I remember. It's just wild. The way that they try to gaslight us constantly. Even on the way out the door, they're trying to gaslight us. But the internet's forever.
Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking.
This was just the other night.
The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit. Talk of inflation. The overwhelming consensus is going to pop up a little bit and then go back down. No one's talking about this great, I don't know anybody, including Larry Summers, who's a friend of mine, who's worried about inflation. Bringing down inflation was 9% when I came to office. 9%.
The border is closed. The border is secure.
The border is secure.
The only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump. You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations. I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter. I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Yeah. Listen, misinformation and abuse of power, right? That's what they're worried about. The internet's forever. These people don't understand that. But Joe Biden was on MSNBC again last night with Lawrence O'Donnell, and he's talking about how concerned he is, how much things are going to change once he leaves office. And I think that he doesn't understand that people are looking forward to the change. We're welcoming that change. The last 4 years have been a disaster. But it's got Joe concerned.
You've served in government longer than any person who's ever served in this job. What did that feel like at the end of that speech? We were pushed out of the room as people were surrounding you, hugging you, and as that emotion was filling the room. But was there a sense of the release of a burden getting up from that desk?
You know, I love how Lawrence O'Donnell poses this thing. Well, you spent 50 years in government. Like that's supposed to be some badge of honor. I'll ask you, what has he done that's consequential in the 50 years that he's been in government? But Biden says, you know, hey, after that speech, he just has a sense of serious concern.
No, but there was a sense that of serious concern. You've known me a long time. I really am concerned about how fragile democracy is. That sounds corny, but I mean, I really am concerned because you've heard me say it 100 times. I really think we're at an inflection point in history here. We're unrelated to any particular leader. Things are going to change drastically.
Things are going to change drastically. They already are. They already are. I mean, you had 466 days to get a ceasefire deal and a hostage release negotiated, and you couldn't do it. Yet 5 days before Trump gets inaugurated, it's done. Things are already drastically changing. You see it when the FBI closes their DEI offices. You see it in the terms of these cabinet nominations that Donald Trump is bringing in. You know, Trump is just so much more ready now than he was in 2017, 2016. Way more ready. And he's bringing in change agents. Things are going to change drastically in this country, and I think that they're going to change for the better. Lord willing, we're entering a new golden age, the way Trump describes it, and we're going to get peace through strength and prosperity. This is what we need. We're going to unleash American energy. We're going to make our military strong again and feared again. We didn't have that under Joe Biden. And when you listen to this interview, it's no wonder why world leaders didn't take this guy seriously. I mean, let's forget the parts about rumors of him pooping his pants with the Pope or losing his place in the photo at the G20 because he was wandering around aimlessly. Just focus on the way he speaks. Nobody took this guy seriously. I mean, during this interview last night, he started rambling about the printing press, the Gutenberg press, which was invented in the 1400s.
Things are going to change drastically. And it occurs every 5 or 6 generations. And it usually is generated by technology, usually generated by, I mean, for example, if Gutenberg didn't invent the printing press, how would Europe ever gotten united in any way to understand what each country is thinking? I mean, it sounds stupid, but it really matters.
Nah, I would just lean on the first part of that statement. This sounds stupid. I understand a lot of people don't watch MSNBC, but, you know, for the 13 people out there that did see this live, I wonder what their instant reaction was. But he's worried about the abuse of power on his way out. This guy. He's worried about mis and disinformation. This guy. During the exact same interview, he tried to claim that Iran is now weaker, significantly weaker than it was before. Yes, this is the president worried about mis and disinformation.
Every one of the people every one of the countries and the groups and the like Hezbollah and Hamas, and they're all a hell of a lot weaker. Iran is significantly weaker than it was before.
I mean, fact check it. Can we fact check that? He reversed Trump-era sanctions, right? And then Iran was able to make billions upon billions of dollars in oil revenue. Is that how you make them significantly weaker? We flush them with cash, see? And once we flush them with cash and they're able to finance terrorist organizations around the world, which lead directly to terror attacks in nations of our allies, that's actually a good thing, and that means they're weaker. Okay. This is Joe Biden. He also claimed in this interview that he knew Putin was going to invade weeks before any troops were amassed along the border.
You know, I knew what Putin was doing when he was amassing forces. Everybody says he's not going to go into. I knew what he was going to do, so I.
When did you know he was going to go in?
I knew he was going to go in about 3 weeks before he amassed those extra troops along the border.
And when did you decide?
He knew 3 weeks before. I remember they sent Kamala Harris down there, right, to negotiate peace. That didn't work out. I think a lot of people could say they knew that Putin was going to take Ukraine when they saw that botched Afghanistan withdrawal. Honestly. We projected weakness on the world stage for 4 years. And people took advantage. You can't blame them for taking advantage. But that's not going to happen anymore. Donald Trump is coming back, and the inauguration is on Monday. We're going to be covering all of that live. Brian Wilson's going to be out there. One final assignment, thanks to our friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Are you getting hype for Monday? I think it's time that we all get hype for Monday, right? The anticipation is killing me.
Trump has left the building.
We can now project the winner of the presidential race. Donald Trump wins the presidency. What started off as unlikely, impossible, is now reality.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
We have a president who actually fulfilled the promises he made during the campaign, securing the border to foreign policy.
He now has a record as president that's pretty damn impressive.
Breaking news out of Palm Beach,
The FBI has executed an unprecedented search warrant at President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. The former president has both sides of the political aisle up in arms.
This is a dangerous and unstable moment in American history.
The Justice Department has just indicted former President Donald Trump.
For 7 years, they hated him, they targeted him, they hunted him.
This is the epitome of the abuse of the prosecutorial power to preempt political decisions.
I never thought anything like this could happen in America. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. The more that a broken system tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be that you must keep pushing ahead. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving. On November 5th, 2024, justice will be done. We will take back our country, and we will make America great again. America will always rise to every challenge and overcome every danger.
Donald Trump seems to always get stronger when challenged. These types of things, I think, give him strength.
When I'm reelected, I will totally obliterate the deep state. As long as we have pride in our beliefs, courage in our convictions, and faith in our God, then we will not fail.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly. who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
The U.S. Supreme Court has made its decision on the TikTok ban. We'll fill you in. The confirmation hearing for Donald Trump's nominee to lead DHS is currently underway. We'll have the latest. Those stories coming up at 10 a.m. on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Appreciate it, Jay. 9:56 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Going through your text messages, and a lot of people like that montage. It's actually the Trump team put that together. Fire. Absolute fire. If you want the
It's
link.
so good.
If you want the link, you can see the video. Just send us a text, and I'll send it to your way. Looking at the text line, I got a first-time texter here. Hey, Chris. Biden whines about abuse of power, yet this is the same guy that, in defiance of the United States Supreme Court ruling, continued and continues to forgive all these student loans. Unbelievable. Signed, Eric. Yeah, nailed it. Nailed it. You know, rules for me, rules for thee, not for me. Deb in Franklin, you got a thought on the one and only Joe Biden. What's up, Deb? You're next on Super Talk.
I do. Thanks for taking my call. And don't tell anybody, Chris, but since the late, great Phil Valentine, you're my favorite host.
Oh, that is the highest compliment that I can receive, and I appreciate you. Phil was my favorite.
Yeah. Anyway, this is my 2 cents on the current president. To me, I summarize his presidency this way, that he's the most damaging president, but at the same time, he's going to prove to be the most irrelevant president because he's accomplished nothing positive.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a very short list of his accomplishments.
And yeah, he keeps talking about democracy being fragile, but it's only fragile because of politicians like him.
Nailed it. I appreciate the call, Deb. Thanks so much.
Chris, may I throw in one positive or one personal note?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to encourage everybody out there to pray for the troops. My loved one recently was deployed to Syria for 9 months, and so I would really encourage people to pray for our troops around the world and to thank a veteran whenever you see one.
Yes, ma'am. I think that's so important, and thank you for your loved one's service. It's my kids, especially my 2 young boys, I've basically taught them how to spot a veteran hat, and they go out of their way to shake their hands and say thank you for your service. So you got to do it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I appreciate you. Thank you, Deb, for the call. Let's go to Steve in the Borough. You're up next on Super Talk. What's up, Steve? Yo, Steve.
Okay, yeah, how you doing?
What's up, man?
I thought you were going to hold me over. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Oh, I thought you were going to hold me over so the guy told me to go home. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to say, basically the same thing. The woman, I've told you this before. You call it like you see it. That's why I listen to you every morning. You know, everything you say about Biden, his administration is true. Joe Biden said that there was going to be, he had the nerve the other night, said there was going to be some dark days in America because of the people that Donald Trump is associating with. Well, like you said, like you said, like I'm about to say, there's going to be dark days in America because Joe Biden left the border open for 4 years, and God knows who's in this country right now, terrorist-wise, from other nations, that Donald Trump has to go state by state to try to exterminate. You know how you have an exterminator come to your home to try to exterminate for bugs? Well, that's basically what Trump has to do for the next 4 years, is try to exterminate these people out of the bad people out of the United States due to Joe Biden's stupidity. So Joe Biden, he's the one that's responsible for the dark days in America that we might have. And like you've been saying for the last couple of weeks, I'm on the countdown for Joe Biden to get the hell out of the White House. And when I call in next Tuesday or Wednesday, that'll be the happiest day of my life, one of the happiest days of my life, because that means that Joe Biden will no longer be the president of this country. And all I can say is God bless America and God bless the USA. And I thank you for taking my call.
Hey, I love it, Steve. Let's go, man. We got a couple more days left. And, it's funny. Joe warns us about dark days ahead, but at the same time, he's saying, hey, it's going to take time to see all the good that is going to come from my administration. We planted seeds. So he's warning of dark days ahead, but he's also positioning himself to take credit for any positives that Donald Trump brings once he's inaugurated on Monday. I see a lot of people lined up wanting to weigh in and add their opinion to the conversation. You're welcome to as well, either on the phone lines or the text lines. 615-737-9986 is the number. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 1 minute past 10 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Hang on for a changing weather forecast. It's coming up. The Supreme Court deciding this morning to uphold a federal law banning TikTok, and it could take effect on Sunday. ABC News contributor Brian Buckmeyer has more.
The Supreme Court said that this is not about First Amendment, this is not a violation, and that there is an interest in which the government does have in protecting its citizens and its data, and this law does stand.
Now on Capitol Hill, the confirmation hearing for President-elect Trump's nominee to lead DHS, Christi Noem, is getting underway this morning. If confirmed, South Dakota's Republican governor would help implement the president-elect's signature campaign promise of mass deportations.
I come before you today with a deep sense of responsibility and a humility as the nominee to lead the Department of Homeland Security, and also a commitment to the more than 330 Americans who we will work together to help serve and to keep safe and secure in their homes and in their communities.
That is the latest news. We've got weather on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
It's 10:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I do appreciate it. And while you're online, you can find us on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Subscribe and like to our YouTube channel. That would be fantastic if you could do that. Get those numbers up. And you can even set reminders for when we go live, so you get those notifications sent right to your phone. You can listen to us wherever you go with the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app. Podcasts are always available on Apple and Spotify. And that's pretty much all the things. It's a lot of things. So if you need any links or you need a reminder of where you can find us, always text in 615-737-9986 or give us a call. It's always better when we turn this into a conversation. Joe Biden is warning about being buried under misinformation. He's warning about the abuse of power. Yet this guy doesn't remember that we have a thing called the internet now, and the statements that they've made are forever.
Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit. Talk of inflation. The overwhelming consensus is going to pop up a little bit and then go back down. No one's talking about this great, I don't know anybody, including Larry Summers, who's a friend of mine, who's worried about inflation. Bringing down inflation. It was 9% when I came to office. 9%.
The border is closed. The border is secure.
The border is secure.
The only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump. You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations. I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter. I'm not going to do anything. I said I'd abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Yeah, you see, he's so worried about misinformation. He's so worried about the abuse of power. Yet we can look at the entire tenure of his presidency and point to misinformation, disinformation, and abuses of power. Over and over and over. We were gaslighted by this administration. We were censored by this administration. We were banned by this administration. We were forced to take experimental mRNA jabs by this administration, or you lose your job. This guy. I can't. And on Monday, this nightmare, this chapter, it's closed by the absolute grace of God. We were less than an inch away from civil war in July. Let's not overstate that. Had Donald Trump been assassinated on that stage in Butler, Pennsylvania, our conversation today would be completely different. And by the grace of God, he turned his head at the very last moment. I do think it was divine intervention. I do think that Donald Trump is here for a reason, and I do think we're entering a new age of prosperity. Democrats and radical leftist socialists be damned. Tony in Nashville, you're up first on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Tony?
Everything good, man. Out here trying to make my wife some money.
I love it. What are your thoughts on 46?
Well, what we have to not let be swept up under the rug. Joe Biden didn't do this by himself. These are designed by the Democratic Party themselves. And we need to be reminded, and people need to be reminded of this every day. See, they don't care about you pointing the finger at Joe Biden because that turns the attention away from the party. But this party is guilty as seeing these people are demonic, all of them.
Yep.
So we don't need to let that die down. We need to keep people reminded of the Democratic Party, what they stand for, and what they are doing. It ain't gonna end with Joe Biden. They're gonna keep up with this stuff, but we have to be reminded of it so that we can look out for it.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it, man. It's not just a Joe Biden problem. It's a deep state problem, and I appreciate the call, Tony. You know, there are a lot of actors supporting and working behind the scenes with Joe Biden, and the Democrat Party is facing a reckoning because of it. I mean, you got guys like Fetterman that are making some sense out there, but he's still as leftist as the day is long. But that's a guy like, it's crazy to say this, and this may be a crazy thing to say. A guy like Fetterman, who suffered a massive stroke and really has a hard time putting words together, is the Democrat Party's only hope right now. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, there are bureaucrats that need to be dealt with. There are radical leftists in all levels of the government that need to be dealt with. I think that they're putting people in place to get rid of that. But I mean, even a guy like Kevin McCarthy, who I don't align with whatsoever, but Kevin McCarthy was on Laura Ingram's show last night, and he made the same point about John Fetterman. He's their only hope. Like, their bench is so depleted that a guy like John Fetterman is now their only hope.
The Democrats in the Senate are going to vote for it. Listen to Fetterman. I mean, Fetterman should be the leader of the Democratic Party if they ever want to win the majority again.
Don't give him any ideas, but that's a good point.
But they are so out of touch. I would expect the Democrats to talk like this a year ago, before the election. Have they not heard what the voters have said?
No, because they don't listen to voters. They listen to donors. Let's be perfectly honest. This is the issue with the Democrat Party. It's been insane. Absolute insanity. And they'll still say that Trump is a threat to democracy. They'll still say Orange Man bad. They'll still say he's literally Hitler when they have, the savior of the Democrat Party in Obama sitting there next to him while Jimmy Carter's being funeralized and laughing and joking with him. Stop Orange Man by any means necessary. And there's a lot of people that are going to try and resist the Trump agenda, yet I don't think the American people are going to be down with that whatsoever. Bobby in Nashville, you're up next on Super Talk. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, brother, you guys have been doing a fine job, and I want to shout out a good weekend to you coming up. But anyway, Biden was saying earlier about the dark days ahead. Well, brother, I'm telling you right now, I'm beginning to see the light. I don't know about you, but the last 4 years has been dark days. And I want to give a shout-out to everybody to support the troops, to let you know, too, about the enemy. Biden and all of them has always supported the enemy, give them all of our tax dollars, going to Yemen for the Houthis and all of that. And, it's just crazy, man. And as far as these hostages goes, I'm not making no deal with the enemy to get about, 30 hostages or 20 hostages for a bunch of, we're going to do the deal right up front. We want all the hostages at one time and be done with it, because if we don't, we're just giving the enemy time to regroup like they always do. And also about Ukraine. If people does their history and looks back, you need to blame that on Clinton, because Clinton, when he was in office, he asked Ukraine to give up all of their nuclear weapons, which they did, to let them know that, hey, down the long run, we'll be there to help you. So when it comes to Ukraine, brother, look to Clinton, and appreciate you taking my call, and thank you, sir.
Hey, anytime, Bobby. I appreciate it, man. I'm with you, though. I see the light. I think that we're getting to the light at the end of the tunnel, and the light's getting brighter, right? But we need to get Trump's nominations in. That is going to be absolutely critical. We need change agents heading every department in the federal government, looking to cut budget and get rid of lousy employees. That's what we need. And we need our senators to get on board. Joni Ernst came around on Hegseth, and she was kind of like the holdup there. But there are other senators that we need to deal with. Senator Lisa Murkowski, they asked her how she feels about Trump's nominations, and she said it's premature to ask where she is on any nominee.
I am in the midst of the advice and consent rule. This is exactly the second confirmation hearing that I have been part of. We just started the confirmation hearings this week. I think along with everybody in the country, is watching them. And so I think it's premature to ask where I will be on any nominee until this process actually gets moving. So.
Oh, it's premature. It's premature. Well, I'll tell you this, Lisa. If you don't want to vote for these nominees, there will be primaries in your future. Make no mistake about that. The line in the sand has been drawn. The American people have spoken. We need to fulfill the mandate. We need to. And Trump hasn't exactly picked radicals at every position. I understand Kash Patel scares them. I understand that Pam Bondi might keep them up at night, right? Because she might look and try and find out where the bodies are buried. I understand that, but we need to get these people in, and a lot of these people aren't crazy at all. Did you see the Treasury Secretary confirmation hearing yesterday, Scott Bessent? Now, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know Scott Bessent from a hole in the wall, but after watching him, it's like I think he's great. Absolutely fantastic. And one of the best things that he said the entire hearing was why President Trump chose him to be the Treasury Secretary. And maybe it's not why he chose him, but it's why he didn't choose him.
When I wasn't here, someone put into question your viability as a nominee because of a lack of public service, which I find interesting. Sometimes I think we have too much public service in people's background here, not real-world business experience. But can you give me an idea of why this nomination may represent your first entry into public service?
Yes, Senator Tillis. And again, as an adjacent state and someone who's a homeowner in North Carolina, I appreciated our conversation in your office. Look, I have been in public service, just not in the government. When I lived in New York, I was a strong supporter of a charter school called Harlem Children's Zone, which takes the young residents in a multi-block, gigantic block, keeps getting bigger area of Harlem, and takes them from cradle through high school. But I have found that my service, anyone can write a check, or anyone that with my means can write a check. What has been fulfilling for me is mentoring many of these young people. I'm still in touch with them today. I was also a trustee for Rockefeller University, one of the great research universities in the world. I was on the executive committee and chaired the investment committee. But sitting here today is especially meaningful for me because this is my third try at public service. In 1979, when I was 17 years old, I wanted to fight for my country. My father had just experienced extreme financial difficulties. I wanted to attend the U.S. Naval Academy. I was offered by our congressman in the 6th District of South Carolina an appointment, but was unable to take that appointment because of my sexual preference. I managed to go to Yale, worked several jobs to do that. While at Yale, I wanted to do public service and joined the Foreign Service. I was told also not welcome. So sitting here today is my third attempt at public service. And I sit here knowing that President Trump chose me because he believes I'm the best candidate, not because of my sexual preference, not because Treasury secretaries with green eyes do better. And I think it is a tribute to President Trump that he looks at people as people.
Did you hear that? President Trump didn't choose Scott Bessent for anything other than his merit. See, this is what we're getting back to under a Donald Trump presidency. Merit. This is what we need to focus on. Meritocracy. Do you have the skills to get the job done? This is going to change everything. You can point at dozens of hires by the Biden administration and say, I'm not sure if you were hired on merit or if you were hired because you checked some boxes. And it goes from all over the place, right? You can go from Richard Levine to Karine Jean-Pierre and make that argument that they were hired because they checked some boxes. That's not how it's working in a Trump administration. It's just not going to happen there. And Scott Bessent had the right answers for the right questions. He broke down how Donald Trump and his administration could be using tariffs. He shut down Democrat lies about Trump's tariff policy. And he had a lot to say about the energy race and why we should be focusing on nuclear. I'll bring you those comments when we return. Scott Bessent, I was really impressed with him yesterday. Really impressed. And I think you will be too. Hang out with us, and that audio is on the way. In the meantime, I got to tell you about my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It's January, new year, new comfort, and they got some winter warm-up specials for you that you just can't beat from Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, your Rude Pro partner. How about this? A free furnace checkup with any heating repair service. I mean, the temperatures are about to plummet. If your heat is not working the way it needs to be, call Busy Bee, and you can get a free furnace checkup with any heating repair service. How about this? 15% off indoor air quality products. Or a complimentary smart thermostat with any HVAC replacement. That's a $200 value, and then you can control your comfort from anywhere. That's Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. These are the best offers for the new year. How about a free automatic whole home shutoff with leak detection with any main water line replacement or whole home water repipe? That's a $300 value. How about a $300 credit on tankless conversion install and $250 off a smart auto whole home water shutoff? This is what you get from Busy Bee. This is satisfaction guaranteed. Your Rude Pro partner, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
The U.S. Supreme Court has made a decision on that TikTok ban, but what does the decision ultimately mean? We'll fill you in. And a Tennessee food processing plant has announced a closure that will leave hundreds without a job. That story's coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay. It's 10:24 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So Scott Bessent, he's the Treasury Secretary nominee. And he seems like he's going to get confirmed. And when I play you some of his answers, you're going to understand why. But he made the point that President Trump chose him because he believes he's the best candidate. He said, not because of my sexual preference, not because Treasury secretaries with green eyes do better. He says because Trump looks at people as people. And can you do the job? And I think we need to get back to that. You know, you have a lot of government officials that have only been put into position or elected because they check certain boxes. And you know what that gets you? It gets you chaos. There's a city councilor in Worcester, Massachusetts, who was elected. She was elected in Massachusetts over there in Worcester. And I know Worcester well. I'm not shocked that they elected her. But this person was misgendered. It's a non-binary individual. And now this lady is taking a month-long leave because she was misgendered.
That city councilor filing a complaint with Worcester's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and they're taking a month-long break. They say it's for emotional and mental safety.
Okay. She keeps saying they. She's talking about one person, right? She's talking about one person. This is the pronoun insanity is exactly what we need to get away from. Oh, someone called you the wrong pronoun and you need to take a month off? You need to only in Massachusetts, right? Well, I guess not only in Massachusetts anymore. I could see this story happening in California or New York or New Jersey or, I mean, any blue state. Any blue state. Taking a month off. I got misgendered. Hey, Mason, call me the wrong pronoun and let's see if I can get a month off.
Which one would you prefer? There's a plethora.
Any of them.
Chris Hand, the host of the Chris Hand Show, they love their job.
How dare you? I'm filing a complaint.
That city councilor filing a complaint with Worcester's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and they're taking a month-long break. They say it's for emotional and mental safety.
Okay. This is what we're getting away from. Let's get back to merit. Let's just get the right person for the right job. This is the change that is coming. And Treasury Secretary designate Scott Bessent, he sounds like the right guy for the job. He was asked about breaking down the ways Trump is going to use tariffs to the country's advantage. And the answer is absolutely phenomenal and on point.
The American people, should think about tariffs in three ways under the Trump administration. One will be for remedying unfair trade practices, either by industry or country. The Chinese tariffs, the steel. Two, maybe for a more generalized tariff as a revenue raiser for the federal budget. And three, President Trump, I think, has added a third use of tariffs, as you said, as a skilled negotiator to he believes that we've probably gotten over our skis a bit on sanctions, and that sanctions may be driving countries out of the use of the U.S. dollar, so that tariffs can be used for negotiations, whether it's for Mexico on the fentanyl crisis. I think you and the American people should think about those three broad categories.
And listen, he's absolutely right, and it's already working. Trump doesn't get inaugurated until Monday, but he threatened tariffs on Canada, right, because of the unfair trade. It caused Justin Trudeau to resign, and now there's news that Canada is going to be buying U.S. submarines to offset the trade balance because they want to avoid those tariffs. Do you understand how this works? Oh, it's gonna be a tax that's passed on to the American people. How could he do this? It's like, no. He's using it as a negotiating tactic, and he's using it to remedy unfair trade practices. And you know what? It works. It works. And it's working big time. Scott Bessent actually was answering so many questions clearly that Democrat senators started to give up and walk out of the room because he just nailed it every single time. And he shut down Democrat lies, and he talked about the energy race that we need to win, including the energy race with Canada. One Democrat senator said, it's a clean energy race. And Scott Bessent said, what are you talking about? China's building coal plants. It's not a clean energy race. It's an energy race. I'll bring you those answers when we return on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 10:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've got a changing weather forecast. It's coming up. The Supreme Court has ruled against TikTok in its efforts to block the law requiring a sale of the app from China-owned ByteDance. ABC's Stephen Portnoy, he has more from D.C.
Setting aside the concerns of users who argued the divestiture law violates the First Amendment, the court unanimously points to what it calls Congress's well-supported national security concerns over the app's Chinese ownership. The justices cite lawmakers' fears of Chinese data collection, and they point to the fact that the bill passed both houses with striking bipartisan support. President-elect Trump has said he has a soft spot for the app, but with this ruling, all three branches of government have now spoken in support of the law requiring TikTok's removal from the app stores come Sunday.
Purdue Farms has announced they're closing their Monterey plant. The Putnam County mayor announced that last night. The closure will leave 433 employees out of a job. In a statement sent to Putnam County, Purdue notes the closure is due in part to market demand and production at the Monterey plant. The mayor, Randy Porter, says the county plans to place their workforce strike team in effect to assist those dislocated workers in locating new jobs. That is the latest news. Weather is up next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
It's 10:35 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. They're based in Smyrna. You can get your water filter and information betterwater.com. Shout out to those guys. We're talking about Scott Bessent and the Treasury nominee. I love what he said. He said Trump hired me because he wants to hire me because I'm the best candidate. Not because of my sexual preference, not because Treasury secretaries with green eyes do better. He said, and I think it's a tribute to President Trump that he looks at people as people. Yeah, let's get back to meritocracy. Then I played you a clip of a non-binary city council elected official from Worcester, Massachusetts, who's taken a month off for being misgendered. Yeah, for emotional safety. What? This is what we need to get away from in this country. This is what we need to get away from. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. Charles, you're up next on Super Talk. What's up, man?
Hey, man. Do I need to turn my radio down? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good. What's up?
Yeah, I get it, and Trump is doing the meritocracy thing. I totally get it. But I also think I'm a retired Army, and I've been out of the Army for 20 years.
Well, thanks for your service.
Some of these, you're more than welcome. Trust me, it was my pleasure. I think some of these candidates, like Pam Bondi, I know you're talking about the Secretary of Treasury, but he's also picking some of these guys that got thicker skin. And this lady up in Massachusetts that you're talking about who needs that month off for emotional stability or mental health or whatever.
Yes.
I mean, think about, this country has gotten so, their skin is so thin. I mean, I'm 61 years old. If you touch my arm, it turns blue because I'm an old man now, really.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the 18-year-olds are that way. You know, Pete Hegseth going to be the Secretary of Defense. Thank God. He's going to get that. I mean, he's going to get it.
Yep, 100%.
And he's going to, I've had service members that retired after I retired, and they told me, hey, well, they call me Sergeant Lewis, that you would hate the military today. It is unbelievable what these kids get away with. And, it's the thin skin. It's the, we can't hurt your feelings. We got to do it, whatever that DEI thing. I still don't know what DEI is. I don't get it.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Right, I get it, but I don't know where the hell it came from. I mean, how did we get into that? Where did that come from?
It's insane. When I was coming up in the 90s as a kid, it was like, listen, judge people based on the content of their character. That's the move. That's, we're coming up. The inauguration is going to be on Martin Luther King Day. That was the message, right? That was the dream. Right. And now it's like, no. Hire people based on how many boxes they check.
Well, and you're right. And here's the thing, so when I know they, one thing I loved about Hegseth when he talked, I'm going to talk about Pam Bondi a minute, the thick skin thing. She buried, what was his, Blumenblau, is that his name? And
Yep.
Schiff.
Yep.
She buried him. I watched that whole thing, and I watched Hegseth, and the quota thing, that's checking the box shit. And I went
Can you dump that? Can you dump that? Dump that. Sorry, we can't use that word, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, I apologize. I apologize for that, but yeah, dump that. Well, the quota thing is ridiculous, and Hegseth had a valid point. And my point, it goes back to he's going to get thicker skin. We're going to, what can you do? Can you do the job? And it is going to be on merit.
Yep.
But I don't know. Merit and thicker skin, and I can tell you this. Donald Trump's got thick skin.
100%.
And I think these next 4 years are going to be the best 4 years we've ever seen. It could be the beginning of the end of the world because, that's what the Bible says, that we'll have a wonderful, wonderful time before the end. The next 4 is going to be pretty good.
Hey, I love it. Thanks for the call, Charles. I appreciate you, man. And thanks again for your service. Call anytime, buddy.
Yeah, sorry about that comment, man.
No, I get it. I listen, I've almost done it a few times myself, but I appreciate the call, Charles. And we'll talk to you again real soon.
Hey, one thing real too, I love this show. My wife turned me on to you guys about 3 months ago, and I listened to you guys, and I thought, man, these guys are addictive. I mean, you guys are like quitting smoking. You just can't stop listening to this show.
Hey,
Great show, man.
It means the world to me, man. And you got a very, very smart wife. Very smart.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Have a good one. All right, have a good one, Charles.
Thanks.
Yeah, we were talking about the city councilor in Worcester, Massachusetts. It was and if you can turn off Charles on your side because my phone's being buggy on this side. But Scott Bessent said, listen, he's the Treasury Secretary nominee. He said, listen, Trump wants to hire me not because of my sexual preference, not because of my green eyes, but because I'm the right guy for the job. I have the qualifications, and Trump is looking at people as people. And that's what we need to get back to. And I juxtaposed it with this city councilor in Worcester, Massachusetts, who was, she's really distressed because she was misgendered, and she needs to take about a month off for emotional safety.
That city councilor filing a complaint with Worcester's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and they're taking a month-long break. They say it's for emotional and mental safety. Worcester City Councilor at Large Tu Nguyen taking a month-long mental health break, accusing the mayor and council of a toxic culture. Nguyen uses the pronouns they, them, and says it's not safe to show up to meetings in person.
It's not safe to show up to meetings. They misgendered me. Come on. What? And they're going to pay her? Are they going to pay her for that month off? They used the wrong word, and I'm unsafe now. And I'm taking a month off. Golly. Is this the real world? Does this lead to a better city for Worcester, Massachusetts? Worcester has a lot of problems. Let me just be honest with you. I know from living in Massachusetts, my sister went to school in Worcester. A lot of problems, a lot of issues. I think that they would be better served by having their city councilors working to fix the issues for the city. That's the job you were elected to do, as opposed to being have to take a month off because somebody used the wrong word. What happened to sticks and stones break my bones, but words will never hurt me? Now it's like that word, I have to take a month off for emotional safety.
It's not safe to show up to meetings in person.
I really, really wished I felt safe enough to show up on the council floor, but I don't.
Last night, when talking about remote participation, Nguyen accused the mayor and another councilor, Kathleen Toomey, of using the wrong pronouns. Nguyen also says Councilor Candy Merrow Carlson repeatedly called them it.
I have faced transphobia with being misgendered and recently learned that I have been dehumanized to a point where I'm being referred to as it by my colleagues on this council.
I mean, this is crazy. You think about like the actual civil rights movement and what some of these people had to go through. And then you look at this, that they're trying to make it the new civil rights movement. And it's like, you're feeling unsafe because of words. This is silly. This is just ridiculous. This is what the American people overwhelmingly voted to get away from. This kind of ideology. Scott Bessent, he said Donald Trump hired me because I have the best credentials. And he was on fire yesterday during his confirmation hearing. And he was talking about Trump's tariff policies. And he says, listen, he's going to use them to remedy unfair trade practices. He's going to use generalized tariffs as revenue raisers. He's going to use tariffs for negotiations. We've already seen that working to America's benefit before Trump has even been inaugurated on Monday. You have Canada, their prime minister's resigned over tariff threats, right? Let's be honest. And now they're going to buy U.S. submarines to offset the trade deficit. These tariffs work. The Democrats will tell you that, well, this tax is going to be passed on to the American people. And Senator Wyden was trying to make this point when they were talking about tariffs. And Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary nominee, said, no, that's just not the case.
I believe these tariffs, you can call it whatever you want in terms of trying to gussy it up. They're going to be paid for by our workers and small businesses. And all through the campaign, we heard they weren't, that foreign countries were going to pay it. I think that's baloney. It's going to be paid for by workers and small businesses. So, your response.
Yes, Senator, I would respectfully disagree. And the history of tariffs and tariff theory, optimal tariff theory, does not support what you're saying. Traditionally, we see that the current, if we were to say use a number that has been thrown around in the press of 10%, then traditionally the currency appreciates by 4%. So the 10% is not passed through. Then we have various elasticities. Consumer preferences may change. And finally, foreign manufacturers, especially China, which is trying to export their way out of their current economic malaise, they will continue cutting prices to maintain market share.
There it is. It just shuts them down calmly. Cool, calm, and collective, right? That's what we want in these positions. Not somebody who's going to have the wrong pronoun hurled at them and need a month off. Scott Bessent also said he wants more nuclear to win the energy race. They were talking about the fact that China, they said China's in a clean energy race with us. And Scott Bessent said, no, that we're not really in a clean energy race. We're in an energy race, period. And Bessent said he favors more nuclear being rolled out in this country to win that energy race.
Now there is a big effort in the Trump administration to reverse it. I think that's going to be bad for the economy, but it is going to be damn good for China because we are in an arms race on clean energy with them. Are you going to be on the side of people who want to unravel this?
Senator Wyden, just so we can frame this for everyone in the room, China will build 100 new coal plants this year. There is not a clean energy race. There is an energy race. China will build 10 nuclear plants this year. That is not solar. I am in favor of more nuclear plants. And I would note that the IRA, as scored by the CBO, is wildly out of control in terms of spending on the upside.
Yeah, listen, it's not a clean energy race. It's an energy race, period. And you know what? When it comes to producing energy, nobody in the world does it better than America. Nobody does it cleaner. Nobody has more regulations. That's just the reality of the situation. It didn't stop Democrats from going after Scott Bessent as best they could. Bernie Sanders went after him, talking about the wealth disparity and the oligarchy that Joe Biden had warned us about. And Bessent shut him down bigly. He's like, you're warning about oligarchs. He's like, I would point out that President Biden gave a Presidential Medal of Freedom to a couple people that would qualify as your oligarchs.
When you have a small number of multi-billionaires who have enormous economic, media, and political power, would you agree with President Biden, who last night stated, and I quote, "An oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms," end of quote. That's what President Biden said last night. I agree with him. Do you?
Senator Sanders, I enjoyed our visit.
Talk a little bit closer into the mic.
I enjoyed our visit, and I hope you got my follow-up materials on the discussions, my previous writings on the tariffs and China. And look, the three billionaires who you listed that all made the money themselves.
I mean, that's the definition of the American dream, is it not?
Mr. Musk came to the country as an immigrant.
I understand that, but what I'm asking you is, when you have a handful of people like Musk, who will soon be part of the Trump administration, and others, when you have three people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society, when these people have enormous influence over the media, when they spend huge amounts of money in both political parties to elect candidates, what Biden said last night is we're moving toward an oligarchy. I'm asking you that question. Do you think, forget how they made their money, do you think that when so few people have so much wealth and so much economic and political power, that is an oligarchic form of society?
Well, I would note that President Biden gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to two people who I think would qualify for his oligarchs.
Boom, roasted. I mean, listen, yeah, you gave a Presidential Medal of Freedom to Bill Gates and to George Soros. It kind of shuts down your point, does it not? Bezos, Musk, even Zuck, they made their money on their own. And they employ a lot of people in this country. Like, let's be realistic. They're doing big things. This is not evil oligarchs at the end of the day. These are American citizens who lived the American dream, succeeded and prospered. Bernie Sanders just wants to go full commie. He always does. At the end of the day, he always tends to go full commie. This is where we're at. Another nomination that I'm looking forward to, RFK Jr. He was sitting down with Tucker Carlson, and he made the point. There's a lot of change coming to the government. Trump wants a revolution, and RFK thinks he's going to get one.
A lot of people think that of Trump as a conventional politician because the last time around he initially appointed a lot of very conventional people, of kind of lobbyists, et cetera.
Yeah.
People don't remember almost his entire cabinet was gone within 2 years.
Yes.
As he learned to govern, and he wants to do, he will do what he wants to do. And I spent 2 days with him recently, and he was saying things that were kind of shocking to me. He was saying things like that, the kind of change, the level of change that he wants to make in our government, I think is going to be unprecedented. And
shocking to you in a good way?
Yeah, in a good way. But just, that it's so impolitic. He's an impolitic guy. And I think he's a guy that does what he wants to do.
Well, can I give you an example?
He wants a revolution, and I think he's going to get one.
He wants a revolution, and I think he's going to get one. Come Monday, 47 takes the reins. Are you hype? I'm hype. We're going to be covering the inauguration all day long on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm really excited. It's going to be happening during my show. Really excited. I'm going to have Brian Wilson in the fray live from D.C. to give us his insight and input while we cover it all right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, and I'm here for my friends at Paul Winkler, Inc. I actually just saw Paul yesterday. Paul's a great guy. If you haven't spoken to him, you really should. And if you don't know where to start by listening to his show tomorrow, the Investor Coaching Show. We run it every Saturday on WTN. And you can learn a lot about Paul's style and his theory from listening to the show. That's actually how I was first introduced to him, was listening to him here on WTN. And I learned a lot from his radio show, and now I learn a lot from him personally. He's actually an avid collector of financial planning designations. He has up to 8 now. My wife and I work with him, and he's helped us tremendously. We had all these different 401ks that we needed to consolidate. Paul's walked us through that process. He's walked us through the process of diversification, and I trust him and his team fully. One of the reasons I really trust these guys is because they don't do anything on commission. They really focus on education. I also trust him because he says when you do these commercials, tell everyone that you get paid to do the commercials, and I do. I love the honesty. I love the upfront, but I don't get paid to be a client. I'm a client because I believe in what he does. If you take 15 minutes to talk to him, you'll believe in what he does too. You can set up that 15-minute phone call today at his website, paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Well, we've got two interstates closed here in Middle Tennessee. We'll start in Montgomery County, 24 eastbound between Rossview Road, exit 8, and MLK Parkway, exit 11. Eastbound 24 closed there. Eastbound 40 is going to be closed in Williamson County. There at Fairview-Dixon, Highway 96, exit 182, and McCrory Lane, exit 192. President-elect Trump's inauguration. They're going to have to move it due to the weather. We'll tell you about it at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's a special request going out to Super Texters 5631 and 4963. Right here on 99.7 WTN. We're doing Love Line requests, baby. Are you guys hype?
I'm big hype,
I'm
dude.
big hype. It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait to see the Village people.
Ooh. Chad said this the other day, and he was so right. People are mad at Carrie Underwood.
Yeah.
But there's no hate for the Village people.
Yeah, they get a pass.
Yeah. I don't understand. I do know that, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you could change that line to 4 lonely years.
Facts.
It is 11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And our top stories right now involve traffic. We've got 2 interstates partially closed here in Middle Tennessee, starting in Clarksville. Looking up there, we've got eastbound 24 shut down between Rossview Road, exit 8, and MLK Parkway, exit 11 because of a crash. And in Williamson County, we've got an overturned vehicle that has eastbound 40 shut down between exit 182 and exit 192. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. President-elect Trump's inauguration will be moving indoors Monday due to the bitter cold weather. And it's not looking good for TikTok after today's Supreme Court ruling. Here's Devin Dwyer.
It does look like Chief Justice John Roberts saying that TikTok's argument that this law passed by large bipartisan majorities of Congress, signed by President Biden, does not violate the First Amendment rights of the company or its 170 million users here in the United States. The justices explain at length how a law like this one meets a significant government interest of protecting the United States national security for a number of concerns.
So we'll see what happens Sunday. Thousands of Palestinians anxiously awaiting for the beginning of this week's ceasefire agreement. ABC's Ian Pannell in Tel Aviv.
The war-ravaged Gaza, a ceasefire can't come soon enough. Israeli airstrikes raining down on the Strip since the agreement was announced, killing more than 100, according to the Hamas-run health authority.
Federal authorities in this country investigating crimes committed or contemplated against Tennessee houses of worship just a few miles apart. Here's Jim Ryan.
Security footage from the First Apostolic Church in North Nashville shows a person setting fire to the trash bins outside early yesterday.
We are very blessed that it didn't get on the inside of the building,
says Pastor DJ Shoulders. As the search continues for that arsonist, federal officials are holding a man accused of threatening to attack a mosque a few miles away. Christian or Muslim, says Sabina Moyadeen.
We need to be more vigilant in times like these.
California wildfires update.
What a very different situation it is here today. It's like Mother Nature is fighting the fires in Pacific Palisades, 90% humidity, 84% in Altadena earlier this week, and last it was 7% humidity. The winds have gone back to the more normal onshore flow coming from the ocean heading inland, but it's not going to last long. By Sunday night, the Santa Ana flow blowing from the desert out toward the ocean, dry and explosive winds will come back again, and fire danger will skyrocket again.
That's Alex Stone reporting. And the latest news, weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Together we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, low inflation, so that everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home. Common sense. We will stop the invasion, end the migrant crime, support our great police, save Medicare, and save Social Security, which is under siege. We will strengthen our military, build a missile defense shield, keep critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools, and keep men out of women's sports. We will defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity, hope, and joy. But for that to happen, we must never let Kamala Harris get anywhere near the White House, and we must defeat her. So get your friends, get your family, register, volunteer, and get the hell out and vote. You gotta vote. On November 5th, we will save our economy. We will rescue our middle class. We will put America first, and we will make America great again.
Yeah, that was Donald Trump in the lead up to the election. And you know what? We are now days away from his inauguration. Promises made, promises kept. Let's get this thing going. Are you guys as hype as I am? I'm pretty hype. They're saying the inauguration is being moved inside due to cold temperatures?
Yeah, the swearing in.
Okay. Is he going to be outside at all?
I'm sure he will.
Because maybe.
Because, I mean, they got to do the parade and all that.
But maybe my tinfoil's wrapped too tight. But I hear that, and I'm like, is that a cover? Because they're worried about security concerns?
Well, you know what? I mean, we could look back and see. I'm sure there have been other bitter cold inauguration days.
Yeah, I wonder. Mason, do a quick check. Coldest inauguration day in history. Because I remember seeing a story where they were talking about drone geofencing being down for Chinese drones, and they were worried about that around the Capitol area. And you look at the threat level being elevated, obviously. Now, you look at the assassination attempts against Donald Trump already. And again, maybe my tinfoil is just a little too tight. You know what I mean? It's interfering with the brainwaves. But my first thought is when they're moving it inside, I'm like, are they worried about something that they're not telling us? What? Because it's always in January. It's always D.C. It's always freezing. Like, that's part and parcel.
Yeah, I mean, I would think there have been other bitter cold inauguration days. I mean, it's Washington, D.C. in January.
And what is the temperature going to be? Did they say?
I got to look at this. I mean, I know a large part of the country is going to see temperatures 20 to 40 degrees below average. So thinking about, not knowing offhand what Washington, D.C.'s average, I would say it's going to at least be in single digits, But, I mean, we have football games in single digit temperatures.
Oh, and people would still show up. People would be there no matter what. I feel bad I have a lot of friends going there, and I'm like, I kind of feel bummed for him a little bit, but I'm also like, this is exactly why I didn't want to go.
All right, listen to this, Brother Chris. This is from the Weather Channel. Inauguration Day weather likely to be the coldest since 1985. So give me the temperature. What was it in Okay, so the forecast high for Washington, D.C. on Monday is upper teens to low 20s.
That's nothing. That should be outside. Yeah, I feel like they're worried about a security threat.
Get this. Ronald Reagan in 1985, when the temperature at noon for the swearing-in ceremony was only 7 degrees. That is the record right now.
That's the record for the coldest ever?
Yes.
And then there's probably going to be some wind chill, I would imagine.
Yeah. Okay, now it does say the parade was ultimately canceled for Barack Obama's first inauguration in 2009. And the high temperature that day was 17 degrees. So the parade was canceled for Obama.
Okay.
In 2009.
And there's no word on if our parade has been canceled?
I have not seen that yet, brother.
They better not. Trash Truck 1 deserves its respect, and it's going to be leading that parade.
Yeah, and they better not cancel the Village People either.
No.
I want to see them do the Trump dance.
Let's go.
Instead of the YMCA.
President Trump has weighed in on Truth Social when it comes to the inauguration. He says, January 20th cannot come fast enough. Everybody, even those that initially opposed the victory by President Donald J. Trump and the Trump administration, just want it to happen. It is my obligation to protect the people of our country, but before we even begin, we have to think of the inauguration itself. The weather forecast for Washington, D.C. with the wind chill factor could take temperatures into severe record lows. There's an Arctic blast sweeping the country. I don't want to see people hurt or injured in any way. It is dangerous conditions for the tens of thousands of law enforcement, first responders, police canines, and even horses, and hundreds of thousands of supporters that will be outside for many hours on the 20th. In any event, if you decide to come, dress warmly. Therefore, I have ordered the inauguration address, in addition to prayers and other speeches, to be delivered in the United States Capitol Rotunda, as used by Ronald Reagan in 1985, also because of very cold weather. So in 85, Reagan used the Capitol Rotunda. Yeah. The various dignitaries and guests will be brought into the Capitol. There will be a very beautiful experience for all, and especially for the large TV audience.
Well, I guess Michelle Obama is really happy she's not going now because there won't be anywhere to run.
Oh, my gosh. He said, we will open Capital One Arena on Monday for live viewing of the historic event and to host the presidential parade. I will join the crowd at Capital One after my swearing in. All other events will remain the same, including the victory rally at Capital One Arena on Sunday at 3 p.m. Doors open at 1. Please arrive early. And the inaugural balls on Monday evening. So everything else is the same. Everything is going to be done inside.
I like how Trump even posted a picture of the U.S. National Weather Service forecast. He's a meteorologist, too.
You got to love it. You got to love it. Golly, so funny.
So there you go.
Yep. I mean, listen, that's a little disappointing. It's got to be disappointing for the people that have spent all of this money to go there. Like the flights, dude, just unreal. Hotels, unbelievable amounts of money.
Yeah.
And then everybody's flying in today. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I got people that are hitting me up, like just landed in D.C. It's like, oh, did you hear everything was canceled? Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Well, it sounds like to me, they're going to have like, I guess maybe big TV screen, big screens out there. So you can be out there and see it on the screen, which they're going to have that anyway, because people are going to be so far back. But you're right. It's not the same.
No, it's not going to be the same at all.
No.
We will get a lot more close-ups on pissed off liberals, though, and Democrats, senators, and congressmen. You know what I mean? Like, that'll be fun. The memes will be plentiful. You remember the Bernie Sanders in his coat with his little COVID mask? Like, so we're going to get a lot more memes of that variety where we see the disgruntled nature on the faces of the Democrats, which I'm here for. Let's be honest. That's why I signed up for this job.
Well, it's like you said, Brother Chris. You're just a humble meme farmer.
That's all I do. I'm but a humble meme farmer tending to my crops. And on Monday, we're harvesting, baby. We're harvesting on Monday. In the meantime, Christi Noem is down on Capitol Hill. She's got a Senate confirmation hearing today, and she's out laying out what a lot of us agree with. The American people have lost their trust in a lot of these institutions, and President Trump is going to bring it back.
Found across the country as well, and I know it's certainly true in my home state of South Dakota, is that people don't trust the federal government. They don't trust our leadership and this current administration that's in the White House right now to tell them the truth about what the threats really are, about our agencies and departments, when there are failures, addressing them and fixing it. The Secret Service is one of those perfect examples. They need leadership that understands why that Secret Service was created and what it needs to do. There's two elements really that the Secret Service is tasked with, and that is protective detail and then also investigations. Yet we see investigators within the Secret Service out there investigating antiquities and other things that are off mission when they should be focused on making sure we're addressing national security events with the protocols that are necessary and protecting the individuals that they're charged with and getting that skill set and training that are necessary. That's been compromised by not having enough people there and being adequately staffed and resourced. But frankly, the leadership hasn't been honest about talking about it.
No, she's right. And listen, like, to her point, so the American people don't trust you when you say that there's threats or not threats. I mean, 6 minutes ago, rewind the clock. If you're watching on YouTube, I literally said, is this a security threat while they're moving him inside? Or is this really the weather? I mean, because we don't trust these institutions. We don't trust the information they're giving us. Biden on his way out being like, the American people have been buried under an avalanche of misinformation. And it's like, yeah, from you guys. From you guys. You've destroyed all the trust in these institutions. And Donald Trump is coming back into office on Monday, and he is going to be tasked with rebuilding that trust.
Saw this with the drones over New Jersey as well. The federal government not answering the questions from the public. And when they finally got a straight answer out of President Trump, they felt reassured that somebody recognized that this was something they were questioning and that they deserved answers. My goal and my mission is to build trust. We will undertake a large job and a large duty that we have to fulfill that the American people expect us to do by securing our border.
Yeah, I mean, securing the border is step one, but it's like every institution needs to have trust restored. You think about what's happened, just started COVID to now, we've lost trust in the CDC, the NIH, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA. Do we need to go on? You know what I mean? Every institution across the entire government, we have lost trust in. Every single institution. And they'll say, but there's good people there. There's good people at that institution or this institution. It's like, yeah, but the trust is destroyed. And we just assume the worst now. We assume that the federal government's lying to us many times. It's a tall order. it is a tall order. And with the southern border, they told us over and over and over again, the southern border is secure. The southern border is secure. The southern border is secure. And then they told us that it's Trump's fault that it's not secure, right?
Let me just ask you something. I repeatedly asked your predecessor when he sat where you're sitting whether the southern border was secure. And he repeatedly told me under oath, it is secure, Senator. And he repeatedly said under oath, our policies are working, Senator, meaning the Biden administration policies that, of course, gave us this devastating open border. So let me just ask you, is the southern border secure as we find it today?
Senator, no, the southern border is not secure today, but in just 3 days, we will have a new president in this country, President Donald J. Trump, and he will secure our border.
That is refreshing. Let me just ask you.
Yeah, that is refreshing. This is what we need. We need to secure these borders, 100%, northern and southern. Senator Hawley asked Christi Noem if she would meet with him about the migrant crime, and asked if it's an actual concern that she intends to do something about. Because we've been told, it's migrant crime. It's just crime, right? And actually, migrants actually commit less crime than American citizens. And this migrant crime, it's actually a mythical idea inside your head.
Would you agree with me that migrant crime sure as heck is an actual concern and that you intend to do something about it?
Yes, Senator, absolutely. And I'm so sorry about Travis and my prayers go out to his family. I can't even imagine what that is like. And thank you for telling his story, because there's so many families in this country that have that same story. And they don't understand why the federal government is allowing people to come into this country illegally and then perpetuate crimes against their people and then give them resources and shelter and food and debit cards to go take care of their families when they go to work every single day to make sure that they're providing for their families and are held accountable to when they break our laws. So,
let me ask you this. Will you work with President Trump to reinstate the Remain in Mexico program that the president had in place in his first term, which does so much to ensure that those who would seek to abuse our asylum system are not allowed into the country, and those who have legitimate asylum claims, their claims are processed in due order and in due course, but they wait in Mexico until those claims are fully processed. Will you work to reinstate that program?
yes, Senator, the president and I have talked extensively about this and will 100% partner with him to reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy and make sure that it's in place.
Fantastic. I think Travis might be alive today if that policy had been in place.
Yeah, there's so many names and faces and lost loved ones that have been affected by migrant crime. This administration that is still in power told us, this is a figment of our imagination. But anybody actually paying attention understands that the federal government has done nothing about this. They've enabled it, and it's gotten progressively worse as the Biden administration's gone on, to the point that, we all understand that our safety is going to be our personal responsibility. You understand that. I understand that. That's why I carry all the time, and that's why I train at the Glock store. If you aren't training with a firearm, if you're not proficient with a firearm, you need to go to the Glock store. When I train, and I should go more often, I go down to the Glock store and the shoot270.com indoor ranges where they have private shooting rooms and personal instructors, not multiple lanes and some stranger shooting next to you. And if you've never fired a gun before, this is the place to learn. Again, with a personal instructor. If you've trained before, this is still the place to go train and learn. You'll learn how to clear out rooms when it's dark. You'll learn how to shoot from behind protective barriers and how to give yourself cover. All sorts of real-world scenarios. You'll actually shoot less and learn more. And all through the month of January, if you book a session at shoot270.com and you mention my name, Chris Hand, when you get there, you get to shoot a fully auto H&K suppressed MP5 just by mentioning my name. That's a $50 value. And even if you listen to Dan or Matt, you got to use my name. Okay, we got a little side bet going on, so I really need you to mention Chris Hand when you get down there. The right way to train is with a personal instructor in a private shooting room, and after every session, you're walking out more confident and better than before. And in January, you get to shoot a fully auto MP5. This is only in Nashville, only at my place to train, the Glock store. Book your session today, shoot270.com.
All right, checking our traffic situation. We still have 40 eastbound shut down in Williamson County between exits 182 and 192 due to an overturned truck. And then in Clarksville, they have reopened 24 eastbound, but you still have that crash being worked right there before MLK Parkway. Stop and go traffic starts at Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Cold weather prompting changes on Inauguration Day, and TikTok's lawyer says that platform could be drastically different on Sunday. These stories are more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's 11:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. You need a water filter? BetterWater.com. Is that the simplest website, BetterWater.com?
That's pretty straightforward to me.
BetterWater.com. We love those guys. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the show. Sally in Nashville wants to talk about the U.S. government. I feel like this could be a long conversation, Sally. What do you got?
Well, I could go on forever. I really enjoy your show. I don't necessarily agree with everything, but you really make a good, thought-provoking show. And when I got in the car, I heard the previous government official lady, and I agreed with her wholly. But as a older retired lady, my impression of what these guys do in Washington is that they pretty much go to lunch and la-di-da and wine and dine, and we don't get anything done because they're just living off my dime. There's no preventive care. We have no infrastructure. To me, as not very involved in government, but the way I see it, I don't see any infrastructure, development, anything for the future. Our space program, things are not working well there. It just doesn't seem like anybody's got their hand on the pulse of the country.
Yep.
And that we're more concerned with giving money to other countries. I know other countries have needs, but hello, so does the United States.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you know, with the space stuff, you nailed it. And a lot of people are looking forward at NASA to Doge coming in. You know, they see what, and I appreciate the call, Sally, they see what Elon Musk has done in the private sector. Last night, they just caught another rocket out of midair, which is just unbelievable what they can do. Meanwhile, our own NASA is spending millions, close to billions of dollars on DEI initiatives. Like, this stuff has to end, and it's going to end come Monday. Make no mistake about it. Everything is going to change, and it's changing even before Donald Trump gets in there. We're seeing the Trump effect happen in real time. But I mean, this is the theme song for today. A lot of people have been requesting this one. I've been getting so many requests for this thing. Monday can't get here soon enough. The historic inauguration of Donald J. Trump, 47, back in the office. It's going to be awesome, man. It's going to be absolutely awesome. On the way, Tom McDonald released a new song today featuring none other than Roseanne Barr. Did you hear that? It's out now. Andrea just texted it to me. We'll play that song for you when we return. Plus, is that the Matt from Smyrna?
I think so. He said he's moved to Shelbyville now, though.
That's the Matt from Smyrna.
I believe that's the Matt from Smyrna.
We haven't heard from Matt from Smyrna since Donald Trump won the election. Wow. We'll talk to Matt. We'll see how Matt's doing when we return after the headlines with Ken Weaver right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Again, drivers in Williamson County, 40 eastbound is still shut down due to an overturned truck between exits 182 and 192. It is just past the McCrory Road exit, and it is closed right now so a wrecker can get in place to upright this truck. Also in Clarksville, 24 eastbound has reopened, but it's still slow going there before MLK Parkway due to a crash, and that's about a 12-minute delay right now. Tracking dangerously cold weather settling over Middle Tennessee this weekend. Got the full forecast coming up in 4 minutes. Cold weather prompting changes on Monday in D.C. President-elect Trump posts to Truth Social he has ordered the inauguration address, in addition to prayers and other speeches, to be delivered in the United States Capitol Rotunda, as he says was used by Ronald Reagan back in 1985. That's when it was 7 degrees. That is currently the record for the coldest presidential inauguration in history. Trump says they're going to be opening Capital One Arena for live viewing. They'll host the presidential parade, which he will join the crowd for there at Capital One after he is sworn in. Come Sunday, TikTok's lawyer says the app will go dark after today's U.S. Supreme Court ruling upholding the law that bans it. And the Biden administration just selected more than a dozen drugs that could be purchased by the government for much lower prices.
Medicare now has the power to negotiate the price it pays for certain medications directly with drug makers. The Biden administration's added 15 additional drugs to that list, among them popular weight loss drugs, Ozempic and Wegovy. The Trump administration will have to handle the actual negotiations, but savings from the first round of talks on drugs like blood thinners and diabetes treatments were expected to save taxpayers about $6 billion and Medicare enrollees about $1.5 billion.
That's Brian Clark and the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
And the truth did destroy them. You see, that's where we were, but that's not where we're going. Come Monday, Donald Trump is going to be inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States. The show is brought to you by my friends at Better Water LLC, betterwater.com if you need a water filter. My name is Chris Hand, and I'm very excited to check in with our next caller. One, Matt from Smyrna. We've been wondering where you been, man, and Matt. How are you doing? Are you okay? Is everything fine with you? Everything good?
Oh, everything's good. What are you talking about, man?
Well, listen, I know you were upset about Trump and you didn't think he was going to win. And then November 5th happened. And then we didn't hear from you until today. It's January 17th. It's been too long, man. I was sending out carrier pigeons and smoke signals and looking for a wellness check. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I just changed my schedule. Start at 6 o'clock in the morning now.
All right. You excited about Monday?
Actually, I worked it out to where I'm going to be out of country.
Are you moving to Canada? Are you moving to Canada, Matt? Is it that bad?
No. It's not that bad because remember, how many administrations I've been alive now? 1, 2, 4, 6, 7 administrations now.
But I thought democracy was in the balance, man. I thought we, orange man bad.
Well, there is some things that you're going to have to negotiate. But if this is what the American people want, the only way that they're going to understand that they made a wrong choice is if you get the what for.
I feel like I could say the exact same thing with you and liberals for the last 4 years.
Exactly.
And I don't know how much negotiating we're going to need, brother. We got the House, we got the Senate, we got the Supreme Court. I mean, we got a mandate from the American public. We're going to get these nominees in. We're going to get rid of this DEI stuff. We're going to get back to peace through strength. We're going to have the economy just rocking. And you know what? I know you don't like the guy, but you're going to benefit from this too, Matt.
Hey, but guess what? Actually, I'm going to benefit whoever is in office. I've benefited in Obama, Bush, Trump, and Biden. And the false narratives are just crazy. I mean, it's like every false narrative. But I always
what narratives do you find that are false, Matt?
The economy, for one.
Oh, the economy.
The economy, for one.
Where do you get your groceries from, Matt?
Guess what? That is a private company that sells goods and services. If they choose to up their prices, well, hey, don't shop there.
You're a price gouging guy.
There is
they were gouging us, right? It had nothing to do with the energy costs going through the roof, right?
All that is affected. Everything has its
and the energy costs. Energy costs went through the roof because Biden wasn't allowing us to drill, and we were energy independent essentially under Donald Trump.
See, there we go. I love this is the misinformation. We have drilled more oil.
Have we?
Yes, and we don't even have any refineries to refine the oil if you choose to drill it. What are you going to build? You don't have an infrastructure to do what you want to do. But
what's the source? Where are you getting these sources from?
You just read. I don't have.
I love the sigh.
Because I didn't. I thought everybody knew this. I didn't read the article and write it down and start sources. I thought everybody knew this.
I thought everybody knew that gas was under $2 when Donald Trump left office, and it's been close to $4 at times, and even worse in some parts of the country.
Of course. But again, here's what I wanted to call you. The Republicans have the presidency, they have Congress, they have the Supreme Court.
Yeah, say it again, Matt. Replay that one more time, brother.
They have it. They have it all.
We do.
They have it all, which the founding fathers did not want one controlling party.
No, the founding fathers wanted the voice of the American people to be spoken through their elected representatives, and that's what you saw.
Okay, well, I understand that the elected representatives, especially in Tennessee, should not have any say-so in California, nor that California should have any say-so in Tennessee.
You know what? You're right. In California, that is an example to look up to, isn't it?
Well, California
second largest city in the country, and they don't have water in the fire hydrants.
Look, that's not true, but
it most certainly is true. It most certainly is true. Maybe this is the mountain of misinformation and disinformation that Biden was talking about. It most certainly is true. You can hear it from firefighters that are on the ground. In fact, a local LA news station tried to fact check that on the air, and then they went to their live reporter in the street who immediately said, "Firefighters are telling me there's no water in the hydrants." Is that misinformation?
I will get you a source.
I dare, buddy.
I will get you a source,
my sources are the fire department speaking to reporters.
I will get you a source.
My sources are the people on the ground that have fire trucks rolling up and down their street, and they're hooking up to fire hydrants, and there's no water in them.
So I'm gonna give you 3 more stats.
Give them. Lay them on me. Lay them on me, Matt.
The Dow is 43,000, highest ever. Right. You have 4.1 unemployment, and you have the inflation at 2.9.
Let me remind you that every jobs report that Biden has released throughout his administration, essentially every single one has been revised downward. The most jobs that have been added have been to the government sector. Okay, and small businesses have been absolutely strangled in this economy.
Okay, so again, that's the only thing that we can go by. We can always not believe what you read. But
do you know when the stock market boomed? When Donald Trump won. See, the stock market is based on what they think is going to happen in the future. And the moment that Trump won, we saw the stock market just jump straight up because everybody understands what's coming back. Dad's home. Dad's home.
Yeah, but again, the presidency is supposed to be the public servant, the top diplomat, and it's just.
You're right, and hey, how much of a public servant and top diplomat was Joe Biden for the last 4 years?
Well, that was problematic. It was problematic.
Hey, we agree. We agree somewhere at least.
See, I give equal shots to equal parties. The Democrats did everything in their power to lose. They did everything, and they deserve to lose. But if you think this situation is worse, it is bad, the situation that you got coming in is going to be worse.
All right. Well, hey, listen, when it gets worse, I want you to call back and rub my nose in it, okay?
No, well, it's going to be a whole lot of pain, but good luck. That's all I got to say.
Hey,
because I'm going to be fine regardless.
Hey, Matt, I'm glad you're okay, man, and I'm happy that we got to talk to you. And you are welcome to call anytime, as always. I appreciate it. It's 11:46 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and Tom McDonald released a new song today with one Roseanne Barr called "Daddy's Home." And I promised that I would play it when it dropped. This is already this got released about 45 minutes ago, already racking up the views. Tom McDonald featuring Roseanne Barr, Daddy's Home. Oh, come on. There we go. It's 11:53 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand in studio with Chad Benson.
This
What's
is
up,
like
man?
the rapping X-Files.
You like it?
You like space? Space Jam, man.
It's a banger of a song.
It is. What's up, man? You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's
3
do it.
days.
Let's do it. Another giant freeze coming in.
And they're moving it inside.
Yeah, I heard you. You're like, my tinfoil hat may be too tight. I'm like, oh, your hat's too tight.
My hat's too tight.
You know what? Everybody's like, why would he move in? Because he's 80.
This
You don't
is true.
need an 80-year-old standing out there for hours.
Then one president got pneumonia
Yeah.
and then died
Yeah, and
because
died.
it was so cold.
Yeah, so let's not do that. Right? let's not. And you know Trump, right? Like he's orange, a little sun-powered. He is a little sun-powered.
He's like Superman. He gets his strength from the sun.
That's right. He is. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I do think that the camera shots that we're going to get of the Democrats in attendance are going to be much better, right? It's just going to be, I'm but a humble meme farmer, and it's going to be a harvest on Monday.
It is going to be something. You know what? Everybody's like, are you excited? I'm like, I'm excited to get going. I said, I would never go to any of the, if they paid me, you got to go. I don't want to go. I like watching, like football. I don't like to go watch football games because why would I? I've got a 90-inch TV and everything's perfect.
Yep.
Like the weather is inside is controlled. And you know what? To be honest with you, man, I don't want to be around a lot of crowds right now.
Dude, I worry about that. I do. I think that that's a real fear. And you hear the national security agent talk that maybe there is a threat level that's been heightened. It's like, yeah, no kidding.
I'm sure there is. There's always some sort of threat level. I remember I lived in Rancho Mirage, California, which they call it the home of the presidents because every president has a house there or has had a house there. So I lived like on Gerald Ford. And across the street is this amazing place where they held the summit with Xi and Obama.
Okay.
And I was maybe 500 yards from the front. The amount of security for both of them, the amount of snipers on every roof everywhere.
Really?
The amount of, and that was just for like a summit.
Flat roofs, though. They weren't sloped.
They weren't too, well, they were, and they were tile. But see, some of those were also Xi's people.
Yeah.
Because the Chinese brought in a ton.
Did they?
Yeah. And it was kind of warm, and it was hilarious because you'd go somewhere in the stores and you see the Secret Service people try not to be Secret Service. We're like, hey, we know you're Secret Service. Like, how do you know? I'm like, well, you got some in your ear, and you're wearing shorts and dress shoes and a dress jacket.
Yeah, it's kind of a red flag,
Yeah,
right?
we know who you are. So, but
great job blending in.
The insanity of like what it goes through to even, like yesterday we were joking, Matt and I, about, the governor sent like an advance team. Now imagine that times 100 with the president.
It's going to be insane.
Plus the weather, man. You don't want to be out there. It's cold.
No, I don't.
Because are they canceling the parade? It sounded kind of like they were leaning that way.
Yeah, which bums me out.
The parade is not canceled, according to Trump.
Is he in the parade?
He's going to be out there with it.
Yeah, see, that's interesting. Well, you know what, though? If you're walking down the street or you're in something, that is one thing.
Yes.
Standing there or sitting there for 2 or 3 hours, because those things take forever.
Yeah, that's a bit different.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to cancel the parade because I want to see Trash Truck 1.
So awesome.
I love that the troll continues.
It's amazing. You know what? I always say he's first an entertainer, then he's a politician.
Yep.
And that's why he is who he is, because he's first an entertainer, then a politician.
It worked.
He's a guy that I swear you're going, because when he gets himself in troubles when he's on stage and he plays to a crowd, because it's like he's riffing.
Yep.
Right? And he's doing crowd work. And I'm like, oh, God, here goes something crazy.
See, those are my favorite moments.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, he always makes everything harder than it should be. But that's just that he plays to the crowd. I always tell everybody.
Yeah, but
you don't understand what kind of entertainer
it works, though. Like the National Association of Black Journalists, everybody was all up in arms about it, but it played so well. And it played well in the black community.
They looked awful.
It played well in the black community, and he won over the room in real time.
In real time. See, the funny thing is the people on the stage wanted him. The people in the crowd are looking around going, this is just stupid. What are we doing?
It was
We got
hilarious.
a chance to have a real conversation with the guy that may be president again, and you guys want to jump out and kick him straight in the grundle.
Sir, thank you for joining us. You're a notorious racist, and you hate people that aren't the same color as you. Your response.
Sir, you're the grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, from what I hear. So, yeah, it was an awful situation. But he plays that stuff well. And he is an absolute entertainer, first and foremost.
Yep.
And that's the beauty of him. And that's why people love him.
This is true.
You know, I mean, even I've got friends who are uber progressive, and they're like, dude, when he gets going, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't help but laugh at him.
Exactly.
And nobody hated him until he wanted to be a politician.
Of course. Nobody hates anybody. And I think that's going to put a lot of people off in the future. People
from running?
From running because, you know, like everybody says, Oprah. Oprah knows half the country's going to end up hating me. And then if I don't do everything I'm supposed to do, part of the country that likes me is going to be mad at me, and all of a sudden I lose.
You could make the argument half the country already does.
Yeah. But, you know, there was a reason that Michael Jordan said there's Republicans buy sneakers too.
Which is one of the smartest businessman lines of all time.
Yeah, totally.
Why would he do that?
You know what I like? The Victor Willis guy from the Village People goes, my guy didn't win, but so what? They asked me to come, and it's going to be great. I'm doing it for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
That's the way
we
you
need
go.
more of that. Did you see Tammy Duckworth and Marco Rubio?
No, I did not.
It is worth seeing because she stopped down everybody, you know, because it's a hearing, although he got it much easier because a lot of people like him.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
She talked about how amazing he was. He just ran for president. He was at the height of his thing. And when she needed something done because she was new, obviously she lost her legs and she needed to come in a certain way and they weren't going to allow that. He basically looked at Mitch and go, let's get this done. There's no reason this shouldn't happen.
Yeah, 100%.
And she goes, I will never forget how amazing it was to me. And I'm like, why don't we have more of that?
Yeah. I think that there could be a lot more of that.
Absolutely.
Instead of just they're doing it all for Twitter videos and clicks. And
Fetterman, he's my spirit liberal animal.
He's your spirit liberal animal?
He is, because he's just like, you know, he wears shorts and a T-shirt and a hoodie, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to him. Why wouldn't I talk to him? He's the president of the United States.
Yep. It makes sense.
It does.
If the Democrats have any hope of rebuilding, they need to follow Fetterman, which is wild because you're saying, follow the guy that just had a stroke. He's your best bet.
But was it Kevin O'Leary said that guy should lead the party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, their bench is depleted now that Newsom has ruined California.
So funny.
It's wild.
The California. Every day it's something new, man. There was a thing last night that a bunch of L.A. battalion chiefs sent to the news talking about what a mess it is, how horrible she is.
Yeah. No, not surprised.
No.
What do you got coming up?
You know, we're going to talk about a little bit about this, obviously, with the inauguration. Obviously, the biggest story of the day is actually TikTok. When you think about the reality of the world, there's nothing has a bigger play in the average person's life than TikTok, and the fact that it's up in the air still is amazing.
Yeah, that's going to be fun to watch and see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Chad Benson's in next. It's 12:01 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.